The start of a new NBA season. 30 teams but only one goal. The NBA championship. And we're a week into the season and the bottom half of the league already has no chance. Maybe a couple weeks after that, another 5 teams eliminated. And by the start of the playoffs, there's only about 4 or 5 teams that have a realistic shot at going after that elusive Larry O'Brien trophy. Lucky for you, you don't have to wait that long to find out who those 4 or 5 teams are, because you've clicked on the 2018 NBA Contenders and Pretenders preview. It should come as no surprise the presumptive Eastern Conference favorites are in the contender category. A gutsy push to 7 games in the Eastern Conference Finals while missing their 2 best players should let you know more than enough to place the Celtics in a prime contender spot. But let's dig a little deeper and explore what makes them such a lethal two-way team. The Celtics for me are categorized by their versatility, a trait that if you've watched any of my other videos you know I love. Brad Stevens, who preaches his new age philosophy of playing only 3 positions, encapsulates this perfectly. Dynamic players filling roles instead of rigid positions. By breaking the conventional 1 through 5 mold, they are able to throw out odd lineups in a traditional basketball sense, but lineups that can be adjusted to perfectly match up and adapt to their competition on the fly. Brad, who may be the best coach in the NBA, takes full advantage of this. On the front office side of things, Danny Ainge has filled every role with players that fill every basketball need. Kyrie gives you scoring and was a much improved playmaker last season, while Rozier and Smart give you scoring and defense respectively. At wing, they have 3 inside-outside scorers, and even though none of them are all defensive caliber players, at least not yet, they have length and athleticism that allows them to switch in a defensive scheme that calls for it. Then as center you have Al Horford, the favorite of NBA nerds to label as one of the most underrated player in the league because of his jack-of-all-trades skill set. The same skill set that saw him lead the Celtics in several key offensive and defensive categories last season. From a scheme perspective, their offense finds open shooters well, and their defense does just the opposite. Last year, they were top 5 in 3-point shooting percentage on the offensive end, and number 1 in 3-point percentage on the defensive end. I also can't say enough about the playoff experience a team with several young key players on it already has. 3 conference finals for Al, 2 for Jalen, and 1 for Tatum, who had a coming out party of sorts against LeBron James last year. The only weak part of the Celtics game last year is how they handled offensive adversity. When the Celtics hit offensive dry spells last year, they didn't move away from their set plays, instead trying to tough it out. I just don't understand why when buckets are hard to come by, there were 4 to 5 possessions in a row where Tatum didn't even touch the ball. Kyrie is a master at realizing when his team needs ISO scoring, and I hope he can help Tatum learn when he needs to take over this year. If you liked the video so far, make sure to smash your girl's asshole and give the video a like. The NBA at the end of the day is a league that starts and stops with talent, and the 76ers have that in spades. Joel Embiid is poised to be one of the next great centers in league history, while Ben Simmons affects the game at every level. But the rest of the roster is flushed out too. Dario Saric and Robert Covington are 2 legit talents that often get overlooked because of the star power up front. But hopefully Bob's all-defensive selection and Dario's incredible highlight reel consisting of some of the best plays I've ever seen out of a big man will help people wake up to this a bit. Re-signing JJ makes perfect sense because they keep the contract short, allowing for free agency possibilities in the upcoming summer, while retaining a player that's aged like fine wine since coming out of Duke. I did a full breakdown on just how dynamic this offense can be in a previous video, so feel free to check that out in the upper right hand corner now. And because of that, I won't be diving too deep into the dynamics of the offense, But there is one main point I brought up in that video I'd like to rehash here, and that's just how large the starting lineup for the Sixers is. The entire starting five of the 76ers measures at least 6'5", and Simmons and Embiid are built like NFL linebackers, but in 7-footers bodies. The first obvious benefit of this size is the amount of space they can cover on the defensive end. They ranked third last year in defensive rating, while still being one of the most foul-prone teams in the league. Another year of experience for the foul-happy Embiid and Simmons, a problem a lot of young players suffer from, should see these numbers come down and heading into this year further cement Philly as an elite defense. But there is an additional benefit that this size presents by way of rebounding. The Warriors showed a glaring flaw in the Houston series last year with their inability to rebound against the Rockets, who by no means are a great offensive rebounding team. A team with the next Hakeem Olajuwon and the next Magic Johnson doesn't scream grit and grind, but slowing the game down and attacking the offensive glass is a way to overpower a team that historically has as much weaponry as anyone. Boogie should help them in this department, but we have yet to see what he'll look like coming back from a catastrophic injury, or if he'll even be a viable option on a team with so many offensive playmakers already on it. Because of this, I'll put an asterisk next to this point for now. Then you have Houston, the kings of small ball, who have made a living off of forcing teams to adapt to them. I can't see this deterring Philly from playing large though, because they can exploit the other end of the extreme size equation. Sure, the Sixers will have difficulty covering the perimeter with their starting lineup, but they have an advantage everywhere else. Boards, switchability, inside presence, toughness, you name it, they got it. Given Houston's hot and cold play style and the ultimate consistency in the 76ers size, it begs to reason the Sixers will at least have a chance to grind it out in 7. The final point in favor of the 76ers I'll bring up is the extreme confidence that Embiid and Simmons already exude. I have been extremely impressed with how confident the two of them are, even when they're going up against top-level competition. They're alpha males in the truest sense of the word. Maybe they draw this demeanor from their overwhelming size, or cultivated it over hours of hard practice in the gym. But no matter where it comes from, they have what it takes mentally to compete and succeed at the highest level. If you made it this far in the video, please consider giving me a like or subscribing for more NBA content like this. And as always, thanks for watching.